Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Cozy Sim SB, and today we are going to be doing a Tiny Glade build. Now, if you have not heard, Tiny Glade is this new cozy game that just came out that I've been loving. It's been getting a lot of hype, and I think it's well-deserved hype. So I figured, hey, let's do a little fun build for YouTube. And as I kind of was getting the hang of the controls of the game, I wanted to start small. So I took inspiration from this cozy fantasy book that I just finished reading. It's called The Spellshop by Sarah Beth Durst. And on the cover of it is this really beautiful cottage that I wanted to sort of replicate or at least get the vibes of. So to give you a kind of quick overview of the book, because I would definitely recommend the book. It's a cozy fantasy romance, and in short, the character Kyla, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, she's a librarian in this city that's pretty much going through some riots and stuff. Anyway, she flees with her plant that talks to her, and I love it. Anyway, she flees with these spell books, starts a new life on this island with this cottage that her parents left for her because that's where she's originally from. It's like an abandoned college. She fixes it up. She makes jam. She helps fix up the island with these spells from the spell book. She falls in love, forms friendships. It's a really great cozy fantasy book. So I wanted to capture the vibe of the cottage, and I figured Tiny Glade is the perfect game for that. It's whimsical. It has that fantasy kind of vibe to it. So it just I was like, oh, this is going to be perfect. So a lot of this video you'll see is kind of me getting the hang of the controls of Tiny Glade. There is a learning curve there, but once you learn the controls of Tiny Glade, like the possibilities are endless. You could do small cottages like the one I'm making in this video, but you can do whole villages as well. There's already so many creators out there making these like grand villages in Tiny Glade. I've seen somebody replicate Skyhold from Dragon Age. I've seen somebody work on Worm's Crossing from Baldur's Gate 3. I'm sure somebody out there is doing Rivendell, which is what I would love to do. But so you can do it on a grand scale, but you can build on a small scale as well, which is what we're doing here. This is a game that has no goals, no combats, no management. It's just vibes, and that's what I really love about it. Like I said, it's so whimsical feeling. It's gorgeous looking. I love like the bokeh effect. I love the little surprises that pop up as you're building. You don't really need to have a specific plan on what you're going to build. Just start building and all these surprises will pop up. And if you really don't know what to build, they do have daily themes, which is what I love. So you log onto the game and you'll see whatever the daily theme is, and there's your inspiration, and you start building. So I highly recommend Tiny Glade. Like if you're like on the fence about it, I'd say go ahead and try it. If you're somebody who loves to build, especially like in The Sims 4, you will love this game. But even if you haven't really ever enjoyed building, I still think you'll really love this game. It's a really enjoyable game, and it's a good price point too. It's $15, which I think is very reasonable for this game. And of course, I think right now, as the day I'm making this video, it's on sale. I think maybe for 12 or whatever. But anyway, so the price point is good. So that's what I wanted to do with this video. We're just doing this small fantasy inspired cottage with the vibes of the spell shop, as I kind of try to replicate at least the vibes of the cover of the book. So hopefully, hopefully I accomplished that. What I also would love to know in the comments, so this is what I need you guys to comment on in this video. The soundtrack for Tiny Glade is so good. Again, it fits the vibe. It's beautiful. I'm going to use the word whimsical a lot in this video because that's just how this game feels. So it's almost like me doing a voiceover ruins the vibe. So you'll have to let me know if you prefer me doing the voiceover kind of talking over as I'm building, or should I just not talk at all and let the soundtrack play and the sound of me building play? So it's either me doing voiceover or me doing no voiceover, and it's just the sounds and vibes of the game. So you'll have to let me know what you think. So there's a little example of what it would sound like if I didn't do a voiceover and what that background music sounds like at a little bit of a sped up pace. So let me know what you think. No voiceover or a voiceover for these videos. So to discuss a little bit more about the game, the setting that I'm doing this cottage is in the flower theme background, because I think that fits the vibe of the cover of the book. But you have different backgrounds available, like different settings or like landscapes, if that's the right word. So this is like the flowery one, but then there's summer, and then there's autumn, and then there's a snowy one. um there's one more that I probably can't think of off the top of my head right now. So that's something else I really love about the game, is that each of those settings look a little bit different. So after this one, this is in the flowery setting. I want to try the autumn one, because being in October right now, this is actually October 1st, the day I'm recording this. The autumn one I feel like would be gorgeous, and make like a fantasy fall village would be really fun. Again, I feel like I have to slowly get there. Some of these creators who are already doing these fantasy villages are insane, and I am in awe of them and what they've already created so far in this game. It's so beautiful. So this is, again, me figuring out the controls, probably a lot of spinning around. I tend to spin around a lot when I'm building, whether it's in Tiny Glade or The Sims. So if I'm giving you motion sickness, my apologies. And I would love to see, obviously this game just came out, and hats off to the developers. I think it was like a team of two that created this game, and they've done such an amazing job with it. There are some things I would love to know if they're going to add a little bit more as the um, months and years kind of continue from release, if they're going to add anything. I love, you add flowers and stuff. I would love to be able to do something similar, but with like to create like a vegetable garden, if that makes sense. Because in the book, as I like said, this is the inspiration for my build. In the book, Kyla, she does have this garden, and she plants tomatoes, and she uses like a spell to make them quick growing. So I'd love to be able to put a vegetable garden in these builds. I think would be really gorgeous. Or being able, because right now I don't think you can change the color of like the flowers, if we're able to do that at all. Um, so I'd be very interested to know what all they're planning to add to Tiny Glade in the future. Not that I expect them to do it right away, because I'm sure that they're like exhausted right now and just want to appreciate the release of the game, as they should. But there's, as much as I love this game, you can also see the potential of where they can add more to it. The main thing that I would love to see them add is a copy and paste button somehow. That would be very useful while building. I've also seen people ask if this is going to come to the Switch. Now, I have not, um, at least from what I've seen anything from the developers. I will say I feel like this would be not the easiest game to play on the Switch. I think this one is definitely easier to do with a mouse and keyboard. I know they are working, it is available on Steam Deck right now, though they say that it may not be functioning as well as they would like to. I know they do plan on actually specifically, making it for the Steam Deck. Because again, the controls I would assume would be difficult to do if you're not having if you don't have a mouse and keyboard. So will it ever come to the Switch? I'm not sure, but I do know if you have a Steam Deck, you can play it right now. Just the controls might be a little bit funky. Now on to the cottage I am building itself. What I wanted to do in the book, it's in this kind of foresty area, not too far from kind of like the beach. There are these steps that lead up to the cottage. So that's one of the main things I wanted to kind of play around with in the game, is learning how to do like these stone steps. It's not as perfect as I wanted it to be, but I think if you kind of look at the book cover, it's not too bad. I wasn't too far away from it. I also wanted it to feel very overgrown with flowers in the back of the cottage. There's this garden, and there's a lot of this overgrowth. She uses a spell for more raspberries. In the book, she makes raspberry jam. That's kind of like a cover for her spell shop. So because of the spell, there's like these brambles just everywhere. And it's kind of has that very kind of chaotic, overgrown feeling. So I used a flower tool in this game to kind of give it that overgrown feeling to this garden. Again, this is like I said, I would love to be able to add a little bit of like tomatoes and maybe some like raspberry bushes to it and stuff. That would be really fun. So, yeah, that's like the main thing that I really wanted to capture. The essence of the cover was these steps leading up to the cottage, and then that kind of overgrown feeling with the garden. I also put in some water little areas um, in this build too as well, because not too far in the book it says like there's a pond that's not too far away, and then it's an island, so it takes place on this island. So I wanted to make sure that we did have some water around it. So you have to let me know what you think, kind of looking at the cover of the book and my build on Tiny Glade, how close I got to it being a similar vibe. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop doing a voiceover and again kind of let you enjoy the sounds of the game, and as the build finishes, I'm going to let the time continue, because if you're in the game, you can let um, time cycle through. So you get, your sunrise, afternoon sun, sunset, and evening. So it cycles through. You can pause it too. So I have it paused for most of this build. But as I finish the build, I'm going to let you enjoy the sounds of the game and then let that time cycle through so you can see what it looks like during different times of the day. So I'm going to stop talking now. I will say right now, thank you very much for watching. Please consider commenting, liking, and subscribing. Also, being sure to follow me on my other channels like TikTok and Instagram. Let me know if you'd love to see more tiny Glade builds, what you would like to see me build in this game. I would be very happy to do it. That being said, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of this build, and I will see you my next video.